I remember when we started doing Kelly and Company, one of the things I kept saying ad nauseum, and John Melville really was a fan of me for it. Hey, when are we going to get podcasts? What are you going to do about podcasting soon? We're working on it. Well, why is it taking so long, guys? We're on the air. Why wasn't this ready when we started? Kelly, we're working on it. So it got worked on. And as a matter of fact, I went away to shoot Blindsided, and while I was away doing that, we became a podcast. I want to say, I guess, May of 2017. Best thing for the show. So many of our listeners out there, you guys have followed the show for a while via the podcast, listened to it at your time and in your way. And I remember wishing from the beginning we had been there. I always think, because you do that, right? You do the stupid hindsighted thinking. I wonder what it would have been like if right from the beginning, never mind, you are now. And that's kind of one of the things that I had to learn with that. Then came, how do we market it? How do we get people jumping on board? Do we put up segments of the show? Do people want to listen to the whole show? We had no clue. No clue what the best way to do it. Do we want to put the vanity cards up separately or tack them on to the full show? And then came the idea at one point, let's put through some of the conversation that Kelly and Ramya have on the breaks. Because people always want to know the behind the scenes. And when we had guests in or our contributors and we said, okay, wait, hang on, man, we'll be with you in a moment during the commercial break. And they would hear us carrying on, talking about one thing or another and laughing and laughing. And Matt said, this would be really nice content to add to the show as a bonus. Because that was what we were struggling with. How do you come up with some bonuses? You know, you want to tell people, our podcast has some bonus content. Like what? And we had to come up with like what? So people would understand these guys have some funny stuff. It's worth going to listen to the podcast because it was all about, as far as I was concerned, marketing. Get on social media. Guys, tell people we're doing this show. Well, we're not part of the marketing department. We're part of the show. Tell people. Tell your friends and family. Well, okay, we got to go outside of there. So when we started adding some of these moments between it, and Matt had to be choosy. Mr. Andy Frank wanted him to be choosy about what we would put in. And the crazy thing was, this was born of an idea from staffer. So it'd come down the hallway, stop outside the control room, other staff members, and they'd hear us carrying on during the breaks. And they'd always make the comment, hey, man, these guys carrying on is funnier than the show. Well, of course, we found that offensive because we always felt we had a damn good show for people to pay attention to tune into. And we did, and did. But we did admit, you know, that, and it wasn't even because, folks, it was off color or we were saying stuff. You can't do that when you know staff can walk by and say, especially our friends in HR. It was just having that extra fun, being ourselves, not even realizing that for some people, that's entertaining. I'm not a huge person on all these little podcast extras that some people like, especially, you know, the outtakes can be a little funny for a couple of minutes, but that's enough. But to me, I want something that I'm not getting from the show because there isn't time to include it. I'm okay with that stuff. So I thought this would be nice, as long as we did it tastefully, and I think we did. And then we ended up it was just one of those things that became a little too much to manage, and we stopped doing it. So anyone who remembers that, that's how come we kind of put a halt on that. But boy, was it a lot of fun.